Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel for this latest update on my Harrington layout. In this video, we'll be doing the track for the viaduct and adding a few building templates. Hope you enjoy it. As a quick reminder of where I left you with part one, so I glued down the track on these woodland scenic risers and had the track wired up temporarily using Kato track. Since then, I've added a NC power cab panel to the front of the baseboard and connected all the tracks to it using droppers that I've soldered onto the track at each end of the scenic section. And I've also used the Kato power feed tracks to power the fiddle yard at the back. So everything should be powered in multiple different places, so it should be nice and reliable, hopefully. I didn't cover it in the first part of the series, but which I probably should have done. But I plan to run mainly DCC fitted stock on this layout, which is hence the power cab panel at the front. But I have added a connection option should I want to use regular analog for this, because maybe some of the stock I've got won't actually take a DCC chip. So we'll see. So that's wired up just in case I use it, but most of the time I'm going to be running digital. So yeah, the connection for that you can see here at the side, and you've also got another connection for things like lighting, which I'll add as and when. With that done and extensively tested, I then painted the track using a rust-coloured enamel paint from Humbrol, which I've used before. Some might think it's quite bright for rust, but once you've had the additional layers of weathering, which you'll have seen if you looked at my previous build videos, it tones down quite a bit, but you still get the effect. So yeah. Normally at this stage I crack on with the ballasting, but the weather's been too cold to do this, as it takes forever for the ballast to dry, and so I've been working on the viaduct instead. While researching some photos of the area, I came across this photo from the Cumbrian Railway Association, who very kindly gave me permission to use their photo in this video, and who would also highly recommend joining if you're interested in the Cumbrian Railways. So it's a photo from a brake van rail tour showing the track on Harrington Viaduct. And as you can see, it doesn't look like your conventional track and sleepers that you see across most of the railway. And then not long after I found this photo, purely by chance, a video from the Rail Accident Investigation Branch popped up on my YouTube feed, showing an investigation of a derailment of a freight train on a bridge near Audenshaw, which showed a very similar track arrangement and a short explanation of what it is. Yeah, so it's apparently a longitudinal bearer system, or LBS, or at least that's what it looks like to me. And if you want to know more about what an LBS is, then you can find the link in the description below. So if you look at the photos, it looks like the beams between the tracks are less frequent and more irregular than regular sleepers, and they also look to be a bit thinner. And so I thought I'd try and replicate the irregularity and see how that looked. But I decided against replacing all the sleepers with thinner versions, as that felt like a bit too much of a risk. I think if I did that, the chance of the track pinging out and not coming back together again felt quite high. I started with this small bit of track at first, just to see how it would look, before then continuing down the rest of the viaduct. So what I did was I cut out every other sleeper from 6 sleepers, and then had 2 together and then repeated, which looked about right. The area between the tracks, the remaining sleepers, are then all painted light grey before being weathered with a dark grey. And this is the end result. So not too far off the colours in the RARB in the video. And yeah, happy with that. And that short little bit, I then did it across the entire viaduct. So after doing all that, it was still too cold, and so I decided to continue working on the viaduct. So the track on the viaduct is supported by these baseboard offcuts, which work quite well as they're quite rigid, but also quite light. But really importantly, they're also the same width as the cut matting that the track is on the foam risers, and so the track is nice and level, which is great. The only downside is that they're not that wide, and along one side they're hatched, as they're designed to fit together with other bits of baseboard, obviously. And so to get the width I needed for the viaduct along the hatch side, what I've done is overlaid some card um, to kind of get the width right. Along the far side, I'll do the same, but this will be supported by the viaduct piers once they get put in. I've also added a few details along the side of the viaduct to represent some metal sides. So these are from scale scenes, and then glued to card, and then just glued in place. And yeah, look quite good, I think. If you watch the first video in the series, you'll have seen that I've been using these old Grange buildings as placeholders for future builds. But there are a few key buildings that don't quite, that the buildings I've got don't quite match. And so for these, I've created card templates for a few of the structures, so drawing them up in Inkscape using measurements from Google Maps and then some estimates from some of the building kits I've already got. So far, I've done the old church and school building that sits right at the junction between Church Street and Grecian Terrace, which is quite a prominent building on the layout. So I wanted to get that in and see how that looked. I've also done some of the townhouses beside the station, and then also the lifeboat inn, which sits right beside the viaduct, which is going to need either a bit of a trim, or I'm going to have to extend the baseboard to fit on. And because it's the building that I first visited when I came to Harrington, I've also mucked up the Harrington Sailing and Fishermen's Club. Put it in the wrong place, but yeah, it's all right here, I think. I might, if I do extend the baseboard a little bit, then I'll probably try and get it into a more prototypical place, but this is where it's at for now. And yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. Really pleased with how this is all coming together so quickly. Yeah, really pleased to get back into modeling again as well, which is good because I haven't had a lot of time for that recently. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like or a comment, and yeah, I'll see you all next time.